He is always going to hold a really, really high bar. He's always going to push you really, really hard. People ask a lot about the algorithms.
Yeah.
Feel like it's a black box. Everyone's always feels like they deserve more reach than they get, and sometimes that's the case.
I didn't anticipate that answer from you.
It's inherently volatile.
And I know you recently made an announcement around originality and a commitment to originality. I was wondering if you could explain that.
Controversial.
Yeah.
When people ask me what my biggest concerns are, they almost always ladder up to this idea of the world evolving faster than we can keep up. The thing is, I think the world is going to change faster and faster. And I think the most likely thing for any platform of our scale is that eventually we will just move slower than the world and the world will move away.
But we come from that era, from the Friendster, MySpace era into Facebook, into Instagram. And Instagram today is a very different place than it was obviously when it first started and what the internet was like when we first started being creators. But ideally, you're like similar to YouTube, where we think a lot about title, thumbnail, and packaging. The packaging of a short form piece of content is the first frame and the visual hook, right? And so the first frame and the visual hook should be able to be understood without language. That I think is like the most important piece of advice.
Creators are tough to keep happy, but there's a number of different things that we know that they care about, and we work hard, contrary to popular belief, on trying to keep them happy. One is clearly, is reach. And it's not, I do think reach is a means to an end. It also matters how safe you feel on the platform. Do you feel like you can be yourself? Can you share the part of yourself that you want to share? So that's about protection. It's about dealing with, any antagonistic behaviors or bullying or harassment, but safety matters a lot. Revenue matters a lot, but actually to a very small subset of creators. The vast majority of creators are very small, and they're too small to monetize in a meaningful way. I think it's probably about being more clear about who your audience is and why that audience is disproportionately valuable to that advertiser. So, let's use, I don't love the example of supplements because there's so many shady actors in that world, but it's an easier example. Like if you only have a few thousand followers, but they're really passionate and they're all about like biohacking and health stuff, then like they are way more valuable to a Thorne supplement advertiser than the average person. And so you shouldn't just care as the advertiser about the number. You should care about how likely, in this case, in this hypothetical example, those followers are to want to buy your product. So it's about understanding your niche and why that niche is disproportionately valuable to that advertiser is probably the most straightforward way.
I will say though, like I think about, and Colin and I talk about this, like every platform needs model citizens, right? Because the younger crop that comes in, they need to see what success looks like. And right now when I think about Instagram and I think about a short form creator who has stood out quite a bit, I think about Haley. Haley Bailey.
She produces so much content. I think we need that. I think you need models to have success stories for the newer creators to look up to. So we have to figure this out because clearly this is frustrating and not the ideal experience. And I'm not sure where we're going to land because this isn't just an Instagram or a meta issue. It's an industry issue. I think if we do our own thing and everyone does their own thing, then you don't have an industry standard. I think the whole internet is less well off. But we do have to figure something out.
It's a rapidly approaching problem, I would say, with the election.
Yeah,
it's already here.
It has to be so trusted.
Yeah.
In the event that something gets posted without that made with AI, but it is in some way altered and just wasn't picked up, then you're in a real situation where people are believing something.
But that's also going to happen. Like right now, if you make an image, with a number of different of these diffusion models, and it doesn't mark, and a lot of them don't mark it in the metadata, like we don't have a way to tell. How can we help them shape that experience without giving the teen a really strong incentive just to lie to their parents and to us? Because you could always pretend you're older than you are or have a second account that you don't tell your parents about. So it's a kind of a really difficult balance because if what we build for parents is too restrictive, teens are savvy. They'll just work around it. So we have to figure out how to do it in a way that can address parents' needs without pushing teens so far that they're just going to lie. I do think this situation in the States is complicated because now states are doing their own thing. And the more variance there is, the harder it is for any platform to comply and actually execute well. And so you're going to have more and more mistakes and more things slip through the cracks. I think it would be good for there to be parental consent. I think, though, that has to be an industry-wide thing. It can't just apply to one platform or another. I think it would be good for it to be the same for all 50 states. I think we'll just make a lot less mistakes. I also think it would go way better if we get support from Apple and Google on the operating systems. It is much easier for me. I mean, I've got 3 kids. They've got 3 iPads. Each one has one. It's much easier for me to tell the iPad that this kid is born in 2016, this kid is born in 2017, this kid is born in 2020 when I first set it up, than for every app to try and figure out how to do age collection, age verification, and age prediction on its own. And right now, I can ask my phone as an app developer, where is this person in the world right now to 10 feet? To listen to their microphone, to turn their camera on, but I can't ask for permission to know what their birthday is. And that's crazy. And so if we could do that, and if you could do not just age collection, but also parental control at the operating system or the app store level, you would have way less mistakes.